Welcome back to The Explainer. So if you're an educator looking to really level up your classroom environment, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're breaking down the Inclusive Classroom Framework. We're going to look at exactly how you can implement evidence-based practices to totally transform your classroom climate and management planning. And honestly, the best part, we're talking about how to do this without the usual burnout. We're taking the research and turning it into a highly actionable, manageable roadmap just for you. Let's dive in.
Be honest for a second. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed when trying to make improvements to your classroom? Yeah, it's probably the most common struggle out there. Educators are constantly bombarded with new initiatives, new research, and endless lists of quote-unquote best practices. But having a massive list of things to do, that's definitely not the same as having a clear, manageable way to actually weave them into your daily routine. It's exhausting, right? You really want to create this amazing space for your students, but just figuring out where to start often leads straight to analysis paralysis.
Well, that's where Cultivate Education's Inclusive Classroom Framework comes in. It acts as a real game changer for that overwhelm. It's designed specifically to streamline the whole selection process, helping you find the exact practices that are the absolute best fit for you and your students, all based on solid data. And what's really compelling about this framework is its versatility. Whether you're teaching pre-K or high school seniors, whether you're a brand new teacher stepping into your very first classroom or a veteran with decades of experience, this framework is built to work for you.
To get us from chaos to clarity, we're going to follow a simple 5-step roadmap. Step 1 is self-assessment. Step 2, select your domain. Step 3, choosing practices. Step 4, launching implementation. And Step 5, reflect, reassess, and continue.
Let's jump right into Step 1, self-assessment.
The framework makes getting an honest baseline incredibly simple. You just scan the provided QR code or head over to the tiny URL link in the Cultivate Education materials. That's tinyurl.com/ICF practices. Educational research consistently shows that objective, data-driven self-assessments are vastly superior to just relying on gut feelings when we're talking about professional development. By taking this assessment, the system auto-generates a personalized report specifically for your classroom. It literally removes all the guesswork from minute one. Now, when you take that assessment, it evaluates you on exactly 50 evidence-based practices. To give you a quick idea, we're talking about tangible actions, things like maintaining specific positive praise ratios or utilizing predictable transition routines. These 50 practices make up the entire Inclusive Classroom Framework, so it gives you a really comprehensive look at your whole classroom ecosystem. But hey, remember our promise earlier? No overwhelm. You are absolutely not going to try and tackle all 50 at once. At this stage, we're purely just gathering data.
Moving on to Step 2, select your domain.
Those 50 practices we just talked about, they're actually distributed across a hierarchy of 5 domains: safe, predictable, caring, supportive, and ambitious. Educational research shows, and it's actually a lot like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that higher-order cognitive ambition is nearly impossible if a student doesn't fundamentally feel safe and know what to expect first. So, you have to evaluate these domains in this exact order, starting right at the foundation. You look at your score in the safe domain. If that's solid, you step up the ladder to predictable, and so on.
And here is the magic number, 80%. As you review your personalized report, you look at your results starting with that safe domain, and you stop at the very first domain that has an implementation rate of less than 80%. Research shows that implementing a practice with at least 80% fidelity is the actual tipping point you need to hit to see meaningful changes in student behavior. Once you hit a domain under that mark, well, that's your domain. The framework officially gives you permission to ignore everything else for now and just focus solely right there. Oh, and by the way, if all your domains are already above 80%, you just set a higher threshold, say 90%, to keep refining your environment.
Which brings us to Step 3, choosing practices. Within your selected domain, you're going to look at the specific practices you scored a bit lower on, and you're going to pick a maximum of 1 to 3 of them, just 1 to 3. Educational research on cognitive load and teacher burnout strongly dictates that trying to overhaul a dozen teaching habits all at once basically universally fails. By focusing your implementation efforts entirely on just 1, 2, or 3 practices for the next 2 weeks, you guarantee high-fidelity implementation. No more of those exhausting, surface-level changes.
Plus, you have total autonomy here. When you select those few practices, you get to choose, do you want to refine an existing practice that you're kind of already trying to do, or do you want to take up a brand new practice entirely? The choice is 100% yours. This flexibility really accommodates your personal comfort level and respects the specific, unique dynamics of your own classroom.
All right, on to Step 4,
Launching implementation.
So for the next 2+ weeks, you execute your plan. You launch your practice on day 1, then daily, you deliberately reflect and rate your implementation, followed by a broader review at the end of each week. Educational psychology highlights that these active reflection loops significantly increase educator efficacy compared to just a passive, set-it-and-forget-it style of implementation. The source materials actually note that there are specific implementation templates available, like over on Gumroad, that are designed to help you structure these efforts. Tracking it daily and weekly ensures your fidelity actually improves, which leads directly to genuine improvements in your classroom climate.
Finally, we reach step 5. Reflect, reassess, and continue.
After your initial 2-week sprint, your collected data makes your next move super obvious. You don't have to guess anymore. Miss the 80% mark? No problem at all. Simply stick with your current practices to dial in that consistency. Crushed it? Awesome! You can set a higher 90% goal, fold in some additional new practices within that same domain, or just level up entirely to the next tier in the hierarchy. This structure brilliantly systematizes your professional growth. It literally removes that stressful Sunday night guesswork of trying to figure out what to do on Monday morning.
So, we've walked through the research-backed assessment, the psychological hierarchy of needs, the focused selection that beats burnout, the 2-week active launch, and the continuous reassessment. It is a highly structured, proven way to build a better environment without losing your mind in the process. I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. When you generate your personalized, data-driven report, which of those 50 practices will be the one to transform your classroom first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Go take that assessment, and I'll catch you next time.